Hello.
Good evening, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing all right, although it's morning here for me.
I am I coming in too hot here? Is this distorting? Is it sound all right?
No, no, it's all good. I can hear you pretty
Cool.
well.
I'm just running on my basic setup because I'm at the office at the day job. But I
Oh,
is it 5 a.m. where you are?
no, it's actually 10 a.m. It would
Oh,
be
that
5 a.m. if I was in Brazil. It's because I am in Berlin.
see, because I work
That's
with
why.
someone from Brazil, and I said 6 o'clock, and
Okay.
they were like, "What the fuck?" It's like
No,
5
yeah.
a.m.
All as much as I love my band and doing interviews, I would definitely not wake up at 5
No,
a.m. for
no,
anything.
no. That's what I was like. She's crazy. But my name's Nev. Anyway, it's really good to have you on the show, Fernanda. I'm such a big fan of what you do. So today
Thank
is a
you.
good day.
It is a good day. Thank you for having me here. Really, it's always fun to talk about, whatever I'm doing. So thank you.
That's awesome. I love the your power. Is that a Powerpuff Girls shirt?
Yes,
That is
it's actually my, how do you say that? It's like the clothes I sleep on.
pajamas.
Pajamas. Of course. It's my pajamas. Yeah, it's not actually a pajama. It's just like, como que fala, amiga, camisola? Yeah, we forgot the exact word. Anyways, it's some sort of pajamas. Yeah.
See, that's the thing I love about you is that you're not afraid to wear like the Powerpuff Girl shirt. You've got your Napalm Death shirt that's pink with a unicorn on it. You know what I mean? But you just get up there and you just absolutely shred it. Like that video you put up the other day. I think you were shredding through Trial of Traders, the new one, and you were just
Yes.
on the bass, and you were like
Yeah.
sun shining, and it's like completely it's like the brutal music, and it was sunshine, and everything was happy. I love it. It's the best.
And that's a thing. Like, of course, you gotta balance, like
Mm.
the devilish side. You can't be a beast all the time, so there's got to be some balance in Pink and Powerpuff Girls here and there. But also, it's like it's not even something. Oops, it's not even something I plan or think about.
Mm.
It's just like basically who I am. Like now that you say about the Trial of Traders video, like brutal music, super shiny, like sunshiny, and then me wearing my pink Napalm Death t-shirt. I don't even plan that. It was like I didn't want to disturb my friend because she was working and I needed to record a video. I went like, I'll go outside and I record outside. It's fine. Your neighbors will hate me for a bit, but I'm trying and be fast. And that was the only clean t-shirt I had because I have a very limited set of clothes because like I'm gonna be touring soon. So that
Mm.
was a clean one. I was like, okay. So like the cuteness, it's not even planned, it's just basically who I am. Like all my stuff, like I love glitter and pink, but I also love death metal and it all just blends in my very unique world.
And that's awesome. And that is awesome because I did see also, were you at a Beyonce show?
Yes,
And you got very emotional, which,
I did.
you know, like that shows that, you're quite diverse musically. Well, in your
Yeah, I
taste,
mean, everyone got so pissed apparently that I mean, lots of people loved, but I got like so many true headbangers, metal heads. They
Yeah.
were like, no way, you cannot go to watch Beyonce and get emotional. I'm like, dude, why not? I mean, I didn't, again, I didn't think it was gonna be a big thing, me crying at Beyonce, because I mean, like, isn't that obvious? I would. Like anyone who knows me at least a little bit, they know I can be very emotional and they know I like Beyonce. I have a tattoo. I never hid anything about this fact. So I was actually surprised, you know, but yeah, I went and watched her twice. It was beautiful. It's just like my thing is really metal.
Yeah.
I've been a metalhead since I was like a kid because my dad is a metalhead, but I also try and not limit myself into anything, like I like to try new foods. I like to listen to different kind of music. I like to wear different colors that's not black. It's fine. I do all that, like I'm a metalhead. I love wearing black, but I
Mm,
also have this other side, and um I'm not shy of sharing this, like and I think there's also now an important side to that like of course it's my Instagram. I'll share a little bit of my word, and my
mm,
word is a very diverse word. I have I am a multiverse inside, like only one person. I'm vegan. I like doing yoga and meditating and traveling around, and I'll share all of this, like on
mm.
my social media, like naturally. But I think now there's another interesting side I've been noticing for a couple of years now, that whenever I share this unusual stuff that is not like metal related or is not related to my band,
Mm.
that I get so many messages from other girls and some other people saying like, "Oh my God, it's so freeing to see someone who's, like it's out there playing and being such a metalhead and everything and still being free to be whatever else you want to be." It's inspiring to me and everything. I got a message from a girl one of these days, and she was saying, "I really wish," she was probably my age, and she said, "I really wish I had someone like you when I was like a teenage
Aw.
metalhead, because I felt guilty of like liking death metal and thrash metal, but also like listening to some pop and wearing pink. But no, I felt like so like restrained and like afraid actually of like wearing pink and listening to whatever else. So I think it's a healthy thing, and I have to start agreeing to that. I think if by showing that on my social media, by being me on social media, and still like encouraging other people to be free as
Yep.
the way they want to be, I think that's really cool. So that's why, even though I get some hate here and there,
Yeah, but
I keep on doing that. I just can't help it, and I think it's important.
I think it's important. Look, I'm going to say this right now to you out there, you listening, you metal elitist. You fucking know. They they will listen to they'll wear their like brutal death metal, black metal shirts with all these obscure bands, but behind closed doors, most of them will be like listening to some pop stuff and like shaking their ass, and but they don't want anyone to know that. We've all got their shame bands where they know, and then I've seen it, and I've you out there, I've seen you do it. So you know,
Free yourself,
that's
free
right.
yourself, get inspired, free yourself, go cry, watch Taylor Swift or whatever it is that you like. Come on, it's free, it's liberating.
See, I think we've all learned something here today. Like it's important, people. Don't restrict yourself in this life. That's the important thing. But we are here to talk about, of course, the brand new CRYPTA album that I fucking man, this album is phenomenal.
Yay,
Shades of
so
Sorrow is out
good.
on August 4, and man, we've only just passed like was it the halfway point like of the year, and it's already in
Yeah,
my
yeah,
top
yeah.
10. Like this album is
Ah,
like
thank
I've
you.
been lucky enough to hear it. That's we get like we get the advanced stream, and I've been listening
Uh-huh.
to it driving around, and man, it's really it shows a really matured band
Thank
musically.
thank you very much. And I have been asked to compare both albums a lot lately. And that's exactly the word I use about Shades of Sorrow, mature. That's
Mm.
exactly how I feel. Of course, like it's my baby. I'll love the album. I love the album. We believe that album so much, but
Mm.
I really do think it's a more mature album in comparison to Echoes of the Soul. Although I love Echoes of the Soul, don't get
Yes,
me wrong,
it's
but
damn
I
good.
think it's more mature overall. I think in Echoes of the Soul, we were like basically trying, still experimenting and trying to see what was CRYPTA, how, what is the essence of crypto. So we were still like experimenting on like many different stuff. There's songs like Bloodstained Heritage. They're like pure thrash metal in my mind, like so we were just overall like trying different stuff. I think with Shades of Sorrow, from the feedback we got from the fans, we kind of understood what they thought
Mm.
our essence was, which is, like that crazy blend of like very melodic stuff and also like some aggressive parts and everything. And then we understood that was what fans were kind of expecting and also that we also liked. And then we kept that for Shades of Sorrow and started experimenting on top of that. So that's how I think we matured as a band on Shades of Sorrow. We just understood what our essence is, and then from there we started experimenting other stuff. So I think it's a more like solid
Yes.
album. Like it doesn't vary a lot, but still like it's just an overall solid, very solid album. And also I think there was like this natural evolution, like as musicians, I think
Yeah.
we always want to try, like no pressure, we don't pressure ourselves at all, like on doing this, but I think it's a natural thing when you're a musician that you want to, like test your limits, you want to deliver something new here and there. So I think that was a natural thing. We were like evolving as musicians and as songwriters. And also there's another thing. It was the first time I was writing with our guitarist Dinah, because when she joined the band, the album was already done, Echoes of the Soul. So it was a really good experience writing with her. We had such a good chemistry because, like, although we're different worlds when it comes to influences and the styles of playing and everything, we could really converge on some stuff. Like for example, I like I like melodies. I'm not like the biggest fan of like death metal with a lot of melody. I like it. I like them there, but they gotta be dark. And then
Yeah.
Taina really likes this dark, emotional melodies as opposed to Echoes of the Soul, which had like more epic melodies, which nowadays I like, but I prefer the darker stuff. And then me and Taina could really, it was really a match, like when we started writing and like we were developing all this crazy dark emotional melody. So I think that was a step up too because of her chemistry. It was really really good and easy to work with her.
What about? I mean, you're a phenomenal bass player. Let's put that out there. You're a great vocalist, phenomenal bass player. So
Thank you.
fast, like it's amazing to watch you so fast. Like it's so quick. How did you find through working with these girls that you were challenged as a bass player as well, and how did you find that that evolved over that time? Was there any new tips or tricks that you incorporated that you found?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm glad to say that I'm the most mediocre player in the band because my girls are fucking amazing. Like technically, they're a whole different level. And of course, like whenever we start writing more technical stuff, I have to follow that with my bass playing and my vocals. But I think there's something interesting going on when it comes to my bass playing and my abilities in the band, because like I think over time, and I don't want to, it's not me trying to be like too humble or anything. It's try to follow my thread of thinking here. I think over time um I used to be a better bass player like a while ago when I was just playing and not singing and not performing a lot.
Hmm.
I used to be like a way better bass player because I would focus only on that. And then, like I would use like way more different techniques, and my bass lines would be like way more creative because it was only that. And then in Nervosa, my previous band, I started singing. So I instantly needed to, like make my bass lines and like simpler because
Hmm.
I was still trying to learn how to do both things at the same time. And now with CRYPTA, I feel another important part of the whole thing is my stage performance, like, so it's to me, it's as important as my bass playing and my vocals. So now I'm doing this three things that are equally important to me. So what I
Hmm.
did, I think with time, I purposely became like a simpler bass player and a singer, because like I care about all these three stuff a lot. Nowadays I consider that I'm like that my whole performance is like 30% focus on bass guitar, 30% focus on vocals, 30% on my stage performance, and 10% just the overall feeling, like when I'm on stage. So I think all of them are really important to me. And so in order, like I know my limitations. I know there are people who can be crazy good doing playing at the same time and jumping around on the stage, but I know my limitations. So in order to do all three of them at a reasonable acceptable, like way, I need to keep it simple. So that's why, like I know I'm never going to be the best bass player or the best singer or the best, like stage performer or whatever, but I I want to make sure I do all of them, like in a good way, and I'm satisfied. And for that, I got to keep it simple. So nowadays, although the band's getting more technical and I follow it here and there with like the fast, like picking. It's not picking because I do it with the
yeah, walking,
fingers.
the walking.
I was gonna say fingering, but that was gonna sound like pretty fucking weird. So you got it. Like
I
hard
got it.
picking.
I totally
Yeah.
understood. I understood what you were saying.
so so yeah, I just try and keep it as simple as I can so I can do all of them, like as good as it can get. And nowadays I don't even consider myself like a bass player only or a singer. I consider myself a performer because I I do all these three things and they're equally important. And I think the performance to me it's overall like more important than being like a super technical bass player. It might sound like like a lazy bass player
No.
excuse. It's just because like I know my limitations. I know I can't be ultra technical and sing at the same time and going fucking nuts on stage simultaneously. So I just try and keep it all simple so I can deliver it.
You need to give yourself more credit, mate. Like,
Mm.
you're very
I hear
humble,
that a lot
and you
from my
say,
therapist.
yeah. But hey,
You're
mine
starting
too.
to sound like my
Yeah,
therapist.
but well, maybe I am. But no, no, because like you are like very respected in the metal industry, like metal scene, for doing those things. You're not boring to watch. I haven't even seen you physically live. I've watched videos upon videos of you playing. You make sure that you put in that performance. You do your job very, very well, and better than
Thank
some
you.
other people that I've seen. So give
Thank you
yourself
very
credit.
much. I will. I will. I mean, I just try and do whatever I would like to
No,
watch.
no, I know.
Like I'm a metalhead. I love going to shows and I love a good performance, like so I just try and give whatever I would love to see on stage.
Absolutely. Well, I did see you played Varkin last year?
It was last year. Yeah, exactly.
What?
It's so time's fucking flying. It's
No,
insane.
man. But I
Yeah.
tell you what, that was incredible to see. Like,
Thank you.
and it
Thank you.
was just I've got mates who have just won that. There's a Battle of the Bands, the global one. They're going over to
Mm-hmm.
play this year. And man, just
Nice.
it must have been such an incredible moment for you.
It
It's a
it
dream.
was like it's a dream come true. Exactly. Like first time I went to Vakin, it was 2008, and I had just turned 18, and it was a crazy experience. I came here, I had like I was hungry a couple of times because I was very short on money. It was a
Oh,
crazy adventure. There was no internet on my phone or whatsoever. So it was a crazy, crazy adventure. And I remember Iron Maiden, my favorite band, was playing there, and it was so special. And I remember I was like front row watching Iron Maiden and thinking of my dad, who's a metalhead, and
oh,
thinking of my friends who would love to be there. But being a Brazilian, it's just so hard to even make a living, like so being there, I know I was fulfilling all of her dreams there. And I was like, oh my god, this is, and I remember I was crying. They were playing like Rime of the Ancient Mariner. I was crying. It was so beautiful. You see, I cry at Iron Maiden concerts too. It's not only
see,
Beyonce.
yeah.
So I was crying. They were on that part. I was like, oh, that's fucking beautiful. And I was remembering everyone. And I was like, maybe will I ever get a play here? Like I was in a band back then already. And I was like, just wondering. It felt impossible to me.
Yeah.
But I was like, maybe one day. And then uh 14 years later, there I was. Like it was a very special thing because also when I was with Nervosa and on 2019, we got confirmed at Vakken. And it was a bittersweet moment for me because like I knew I had worked so much to be there, but I knew
Mm.
the situation in the band was not that good. And then when the thought of leaving the band was like haunting me already, the Vakken show was the thing that kept me, like holding on to the band even longer than needed. And I was like, no, I can't believe like I'm gonna have to leave the band. I'm not playing the show I worked for 10 years to play. It was so sad. And but still I was like, although it was very sad, I quit the band and I had this feeling like I can't believe I'm not playing the show. But then the pandemic came and everything, and then one of our first shows confirmed was Vakken, like right before we released the album. It was just insane. Like I remember I was asking my booking agent, like, what the fuck? Like, why? He would say, like, I have no idea. Just accept it and like have fun. And that's what I did. That was a very, very, very extremely emotional show to me, because it was a dream come true. I didn't know. Um, it was our first European tour. I was still very insecure about because I have anxiety, so that fucks your perspective on basically everything. So I was unsure of how successful this gig would be. I was like, maybe there's just 10 people there and I got to be ready for that. Still, I'll be, like fulfilling my dream because it was a very early show, and then like it was fully packed of people. It was beautiful to see. And so it was very emotional. My best friend, I'm in her at her place right now. She was front row. And then on the last song, I saw her crying, getting
Oh,
emotional because she knew like everything I had to
yeah.
go through to be there. And then I was holding myself. I was holding myself throughout the whole gig. I was like, no, no, let me have that heavy metal pose and like just do my thing. And then when I saw her crying, I cracked. I started
Oh,
crying during From the
man.
Ashes. I was like, that's such a dream come true. And it was definitely one of the most special moments I ever had as a metalhead, as a musician, and overall just being Fernanda. It was a beautiful moment. Yeah.
Mate, well deserved, hey. Well deserved.
Thank
And
you. Thank you so
you know,
much.
and I think I know some people get a little funny about it, these days, but you know, being a female metalhead front woman, I think it's such an important thing to be, a role model for these young girls. Because I'm a dad. I got two girls, and
Yeah.
you gotta bring them up on the on the medals and all the other stuff. They love it. But I guess you mentioned before you probably get messages from these girls saying how that's influenced them, and have you met them in person? Do they come to shows, and I guess you sign things for them and they say, when I grow up I want to be just like you? It must be pretty special.
It's really special. I used to be too humble about that too. Uh, you know, uh but with over time, like we started getting like girls after the show saying lots of amazing stuff like
Oh,
every night. Like, hey, I started playing because of you all. Hey, um, it had been like 5 years since I last grabbed my guitar, but then I heard about you girls and then I felt inspired. And like I can't play an instrument, but you inspire me on, like trying to be my best on my other career that has nothing to do with metal. So that's it. It's about that, like, and then I started feeling like, okay, maybe I'm doing my part also, just like Daryl Pash and Girl School did for
yeah,
me back in the day. That was super important. My dad is a metalhead, and he's always been a supporter of like girls in metal, and he was always since I was a kid. Like I was 7 years old, my dad would record some cassette tapes, and there would be a Warlock in there and Doro Pesh, and he had posters of Doro Pesh around, and he was like, "So yeah, this girl is fucking awesome." And then like he showed me Girl School, and I was like, I want to be like Girl School. They are like an all girl rock band, and they party with Motorhead. I I want to do that too. So nowadays, I know how important it is.
Mm.
Like, and you don't have to be Daryl Pesh, like the biggest metal queen, to inspire someone. It just you by being you, you can. There's always someone watching you. Like in a good way. Like there's
Yes.
someone observing you and being inspired by the small things you do, and being a metal head, like a girl metalhead in the metal scene, that's super important, because although things have been getting better and better for us in the metal scene, it's still a male dominated scene, and still there's some specific struggles that we go
Mm.
through when you are a girl in the metal scene. Like, for example, how many times, and this happens on every tour, I'm blocked from my own dressing room. I'm prevented
Really?
of getting in my own dressing room because they think I'm with the band, and I'm not the band. They think I'm groupie and whatever, and then I need to call our promoter a man to state no, they are a band, and then they allow us in. This happens all the time, and people trying to educate us on what a volume button is on
Oh,
the amp and stuff
man.
like that.
Come
Yeah,
on.
yeah, that happens a lot. And sometimes, like, you're gonna, like, you're doing meet and greets and talking to the fans on the merch table, and the guy try and touches your boob while taking the picture, and I need to educate them, like, hey, if it was Kerry King,
Don't do
you
that.
wouldn't be touching their boobs, like,
Yeah,
so
that's wrong.
don't do it with my. So there are very specific struggles that girls face in the metal scene, although the majority of people support us and respect us. So nowadays, I understand the importance of me being there. I understand the importance of all girl metal bands. And before, I was confused about this label. Like, do I want to be labeled like that? And nowadays, to me, I carry it like a flag. Like I'm proud of being an all
Yeah.
girl metal band, because I know it represents a very specific set of struggles we have to face. So, and I think it's just overall important, like only us girls know how it feels to see another girl there living their dream, like on stage, being a badass. Like only us girls know. And that's why I always say the more girls, the more girls, like, because
Yes.
that's how it is. Like us women, we need to be occupying as many like spaces in society as possible, like mainly the ones that were like normatized as guys stuff. We need to occupy them. So if I can do a small contribution to making other girls feel comfortable on living their dreams, like, and being comfortable about themselves and about what they like to do, then to me it's mission accomplished. If I can live my dream and inspire other girls doing that, mission accomplished. Like, so to me that's a very important thing.
Well, I've shown my youngest daughter some of your stuff.
How
And she was like,
how they
"What?"
feel.
And I was like, "Yeah." So you can do that too. I was like, "Yeah."
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's not, maybe she in the future she doesn't even like, like metal, and she
Oh,
doesn't want to be a like a musician at all, but I'm sure this somehow it got stuck in her unconscious on, like, hey, you can do it too. Whatever you
she's
want to do, you do it too.
she's very big into dancing and everything like that. So as long as she's creative, like
Mm-hmm.
that's something that's or she's expressing herself and she's free to do. That's something that's important to me as a
Exactly.
as an old
And
man.
like uh, and that's the thing. Like, if she can watch us or any other girls performing and seeing that she can also get creative, she can also
Mm.
express herself through her art, that's it. Mission accomplished for me, definitely.
In saying that, I would take her to see you guys. I wonder, would you be coming down to Australia at some point?
Yes, we're working on that, because yes, we're working on that. We got a couple of offers. We're studying them finally,
Mm.
because I've never been there, not even with my previous band. And I've been seeing like so much support from Australia, like so much on our social media, and now like there's lots of people willing to be chatting with me, like doing interviews and stuff. I was like, this has to mean something, like, so let's work on getting our asses down there. And we're working on that. We're working on that.
Oh,
There's a very specific offer that is a very realistic one, the best one we got so far. We're gonna be deciding about this over the next days. I'm pretty sure it's gonna happen sooner than
yes.
you think. Yeah. I can't
Yes.
fucking wait.
Mate, Brisbane or Gold Coast has to be in there. I don't know if you know, well, you haven't been here yet, but we're like up here. So Australia's like right on the arse end of the world, right down the bottom. Yeah. Yeah, right down near Antarctica. And we're just up around the corner over here. So you have to come and pay us a visit
Yeah. I'll
when you do.
like we're definitely not going for a single show there. Uh, so we might just do like a small tour around there, just like to
Test the
know.
waters. Yeah.
Yeah, test the waters. That's exactly the expression I was looking for. So yeah, we might definitely be doing that just to understand how it works and like meet you all. But we're definitely going. If it doesn't happen next year, the other year, but I think there's a big chance it happens next year. So get ready for some fucking Brazilian death metal.
Count me in. Count me in. I'll drag. I mean, she's not old enough, but I'll put her. I'll do the trench coat and put her on my shoulders. With the
Now
fake
I'll
ID.
get her. If you find a way of talking to me, sending me an email. I'll get you all to the dressing room, and she'll get the full experience.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. But hey, in the meantime, mate, thank you so much for hanging out on the show. It's
Thank you.
been.
Are we good? Are we good with all your questions? I still have some time. If you have a couple more, I'm good.
I've got 8 minutes till Zoom kicks us off. Don't you hate that?
That's yeah.
If you're cool
Whatever.
with that,
If
man, hey,
I
like,
am,
yeah,
What time
absolutely.
is it? Oh
That's
yeah, I
cool.
still have some time, definitely.
Excellent. Yeah. Yeah. Zoom's got this weird thing where they go and just
Yeah.
cut you off. I don't know why. Don't know why. But I did want to ask you, of course, you mentioned your dad. And have you taken him to some shows?
Oh yeah, you bet. My dad, again, he's a metalhead. When we were starting with Nervosa, my previous band, he would be our driver and merch guy. So that's how close he is to my band. Like for years, he was like our driver and merch guy and coolest guy around. Really, he would have more fun at the shows than we did. Like sometimes he would drop us off at the hotel and go party with our fans. So that's my dad right there. Like and nowadays like he goes like whenever he can, he goes to a show like in Brazil, like whenever we're around. He travels sometimes to go to shows. My mom too, she shows up whenever she can to the shows, like because they're also super young. Like my dad and my mom, they're like 55, so they're super super young, and they are like wilder than I am in so many aspects. So they just love showing up and showing some support. And my dad is also like a CD collector, pretty well known in the Brazilian metal collector scene.
Oh,
Like people interview
yeah.
him and stuff. So he just loves going to festivals and shows and talking to everyone around and everything, and brag a little bit
Oh, of
because he's
course
my
he would.
dad.
I
And
would.
of course, like I'm here because of him, so I allow him to. And so yeah, he's definitely very very active on like supporting my band since day one, even when I quit college to focus on like music and everything. He was worried. Both my parents were worried, but then I showed my dad how fucked up my my university was. Like I showed him around. He was like, yeah, fuck that shit. And then he's been very supportive since day one. My dad is fucking awesome.
That's amazing. And what were
Yeah.
you doing before you started doing music full time? Like, what was everyone's got this side hustle. Everyone does it. Look at
Yeah.
me. Look at me
I
here. Like, yeah.
I was for like 10 years. I used to teach English.
Wow.
Nowadays my English is not that good, but it was pretty good like back then because I was speaking English every day. But I started out when I was like 15. I was teaching like little kids and just giving like extra classes for those who, like were having a hard time learning the language. And then I became a teacher, an English teacher at this. like small English course, whatever school. And then I stayed there for like 5 years. And then I started doing like online private lessons, and then some years ago, like yeah, um like when I was in Nervosa, like halfway through Nervosa, that it got too busy, then I needed to quit that and focus on music too. But also besides that, I was a metal journalist for a while, even before Nervosa, even before joining Nervosa. I was doing everything in the metal scene, like media wise. So I was studying journalism, by the way. And at college, I dropped on the third year. That's insane, but still, it brought me here.
Hey, there
But
you go.
but yeah, I was for a while, like I was doing like concert reviews, album reviews, and live picks for shows, and I was doing like interviewing bands. I interviewed lots of bands.
Who was the
So
number one for you? Who was the one? Because I've had a few where I've gone to jump on and I was a bit nervous. I was a bit nervous to talk to you, to be honest.
to me,
Yeah,
I'm like, I'm so
because I
chill.
I am I am because we do this thing, but we're also fans as well, and I'm sure that
Exactly.
you know what I mean. So I was like,
It happens to
oh
me, yeah.
yeah. So who was the one that sort of shook you up?
Carrie King and Phil Anselmo,
Ooh.
because they were like the biggest names I got to interview back then. And I was so nervous. And it was like phone interviews. And I hated phone interviews because,
Mm.
like I was from Brazil, the connection was always fucked up. So I was very, very nervous. But both of them, they were super cool, super chill and cool. Like I was surprised. And yeah, they were the biggest names I ever got the chance to interview. But I was interviewing bands like regularly, at least once a week. And I was doing this for websites, magazines, and I would be an interviewing on a metal TV show. And I was interviewing like bands and people like before and after the shows. And then I became a host for that TV show. And I was also a host for a radio show. So I was doing all the things metal before joining bands, and I loved doing that. But that's also probably the reason why I talk so much on interviews, because I would be terrified when I was interviewing people and they were like, "Yeah, that's right,"
You're like, and
and
then
I was
nothing.
like, "Fuck,
Yeah,
man,
yeah, yeah.
yeah."
I know. I get it. I get it. But would you should do it again. Have you thought about before Zoom gives us the boot? Have you thought about doing that, like your own show
People
outside?
ask me that a lot,
You're
like
very
at
good.
least a YouTube channel or a
Mm.
podcast or whatever, and I would love to because I love talking. But it's just the time now. It's so super intense with CRYPTA. But as soon as I have the time, if this podcast, YouTube thing is still a thing, I would love to do that. And that would be great because I loved doing it back then. I only quit because I didn't have enough time.
Yeah, you should. You totally should. I'd tune into your podcast or whatever. You're
Yeah.
yeah,
You're such
be
a
awesome.
sweetheart.
It'd be
So
awesome. It'd be awesome. But mate, before Zoom does the awkward boot off halfway through conversation, I will
much.
say
Okay.
thank you so much again. We're gonna
Thank
have all
you.
the links down here and on the website somewhere. Mate, you are a legend, and we will see you
Oh,
soon, I hope.
soon, soon, soon. It's gonna happen. You'll see. It's gonna happen. We're
I'm
working
waiting.
on that.
I'll be
I
waiting.
promise.
Excellent. Take care, mate.
Thank you so much. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. Bye bye.
See
Have
ya.
a
Thank
nice
you.
night.
I will. Off to jam now. I'm gonna go yell in the microphone. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Cool.
good.
See you,
Bye
mate.
bye.